said you didn't want to honor first responders today, but you pardoned hundreds of people who assaulted first responders. Why did you do that?
Who?
You are going to meet with first responders today, but you pardoned people who assaulted first responders.
No, I pardoned people that were assaulted themselves. They were assaulted by our government. I pardoned J6 people who were assaulted by our government. That's who assaulted, and they were treated unfairly. There's never been a group of people in this country, outside of maybe one instance that I can think of, but I won't get into it, that were treated more horribly than the people of J6. So, no, I didn't assault. They didn't assault. They were assaulted. And what I did was a great thing for humanity. They were treated very, very unfairly. There's never been an incident like it.
Welcome to William on Watch. Before we get started, please tap the like button and the subscribe button and the notifications bell. And please do it before I say something that just totally pisses you off. So, okay, what you just heard in that clip is a great example of why I've embarked on this YouTube adventure. Trump told an exceptionally bold lie on his way to the Super Bowl aboard Air Force One, and he did so with the full expectation that many of my red state friends and neighbors and family and such would believe every word of it. And after having spent decades living in central Alabama, I can tell you for sure many of them would have if they had seen it. But probably they didn't see it. But more on that in a minute. So what's really going on in this video clip? Some might think Trump has become completely detached from reality, and maybe so. That was my first reaction. But obviously, the J6 insurrectionists did attack the Capitol. They did injure over 140 police officers. The Trump rioters came with combat gear that included like body armor, helmets, bear spray, baseball bats, pipes, clubs, firearms, shields, zip ties and other restraints, tasers, stun guns, and quite memorably, a noose. Videos unambiguously show them breaking through the barricades and beating police officers and destroying property and generally running amok through the halls of Congress. But if you or anyone you know has any doubts about what really went on that day, I've placed a link below to an excellent timeline video produced by the Washington Post. So if Trump hasn't become completely delusional, then what's he up to here? It seems to me this could be part of a larger effort by him and his faithful lapdogs in Congress and the media to rewrite history. At some point in the history rewriting process, he or his minions might very well just declare that all those January 6th videos were just AI-generated fakes, just as he once said of a Kamala Harris campaign event at a Detroit airport. You remember that one? Just for fun, let's take a minute to dial back to that. Let me read the text of a Truth Social post by then-candidate Trump in August of 2024. Quote, "Has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it, and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. She was turned in by a maintenance worker at the airport when he noticed the fake crowd picture. But there was nobody there, later confirmed by the reflection of the mirror-like finish on the vice presidential plane. She's a cheater. She had nobody waiting, and the crowd looked like 10,000 people. Same thing is happening with her fake crowds at her speeches. This is the way Democrats win elections, by cheating. And they're even worse at the ballot box. She should be disqualified because the creation of a fake image is election interference. Anyone who does that would cheat at anything." Okay, so that nonsense was instantly discredited. After all, there were thousands and thousands of witnesses at the event. Ridiculous. But will he try it again with the J6th insurrection? Or will he go even a step further and have his own AI-generated videos produced to support his bogus claim? Who knows, maybe. But to a broader point, Donald cares absolutely nothing about the scale of his lies. A normal, everyday, lying politician wouldn't have dared to utter such an outrageous lie in times past. But Trump is teaching today's politicians how to do exactly that. He's shown them it's possible to get away with anything so long as you're telling the base the lies they want to hear. I'm talking about something known as confirmation bias, which is a topic we're going to discuss frequently on this channel, because the channel isn't really about bashing Trump. It's primarily about exposing the lies being fed to working class Americans every single day by Republican politicians and conservative media. The lies that keep people angry and afraid. The lies that wind them up and send them hauling ass to the voting booths to cast ballots for their Republican saviors. Problem is, the entire existence of elected Republicans is and has always been dedicated to advancing policies that benefit corporations and the wealthy, the donor class. Policies very much to the detriment of the angry and fearful base they've created with their endless lies and deceptions. In the very next episode, we're going to explore a great example of that. Trump's new head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is dropping a bunch of lawsuits against corporations that have been accused of scamming consumers like you and me. Again, those corporations are the very ones that Republicans really work for, not the people. Those of us in red states are often told that left coast liberal elites think we're stupid. But no, it's the very right-wing media my neighbors watch on TV every night, and it's our Republican representatives who assume we're a bunch of gullible fools very much under their control. I've never known an elected Democrat to think so little of my intelligence as to tell such outrageous lies as those we just heard. Have you? And they do it continuously. So, to my fellow red state friends, let's wise up and take some pride in ourselves and our intellect and insist that conservative media and Republican politicians stop treating red state folks as useful idiots. If you're a consumer of conservative media, start straining everything they say through a truth filter. Do they cite credible sources? Probably not. How much is unsubstantiated BS designed to keep us fearful and angry? And if you expose yourself to alternative news sources, you'll often see properly sourced news items that your favorite pundits on Fox and Newsmax don't want you hearing about. But as a point of interest, the clip I played at the beginning of this episode was nearly nowhere to be found on mainstream corporate media platforms. And why not? Isn't it newsworthy when a president of the United States appears to have become untethered from reality? I'd like to think that corporate media was just denying Trump another opportunity to gaslight their audiences. But could it be that mainstream media is really that frightened of Trump? In terms of losing access to him, I suspect so. Do you think Trump would hesitate for a second to boot a reporter from the White House press corps if he didn't like a question or an outlet's coverage of him? He's already done that to the Associated Press. But where does that leave us? Obviously, legacy media is in decline. So what is the future of news media? Who can be depended upon to report things that will anger Trump? Is legacy media becoming state media? We'll be talking about that very thing in upcoming episodes. But meanwhile, please leave your thoughts in the comments section. I'm interested to hear what you think, whether in agreement or not. But please keep comments civil and respectful of others, and don't take the bait from those who hate. By the way, the sponsor of this episode is you. So if you didn't click on those buttons mentioned at the beginning, please do so now. It really will help this fledgling channel get off the ground. Until next time, fair winds.